Excellent. All right. So I'm very excited in that our next speaker is a student. And one of the great privileges I have is having superintendents, teachers, and students share in, because really we're just talking about learning. And so I reached out to Carl, who's actually going to be speaking later, and I said, I need a student who can share cool things they're doing. And it was like seconds later, he said, okay, I got like 2 students, and Rachel was one of them. And so, Rachel, where are you, my friend? There you are, Rachel. So welcome, Rachel Gardner. So if you need to say what you need to say, and when you're ready, we'll roll. Dad's got the whole thing recorded here, so this will be great.
Okay, so like you said, I'm Rachel Gardner. I'm actually a senior at Westlake High School here in Austin. And I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about kind of the journey I've gone through getting to this point where somebody asked me to speak here. So let's go.
Yeah.
As you can probably guess, I am the one on the left looking at her shoes. This is me in 2nd grade, and at that point I was terrified at looking at people. I would walk around looking at my shoes all the time. And somewhere along the way since then, I've become confident enough to talk at events like this, to talk to crowds of my peers, and to talk to rooms full of judges. And to tell you a little bit about why that happened, I have to go back to the end of my freshman year when, at the end of my robotics season, my robotics mentor approached me about a better way of testing and driving the robots. So we got up on the whiteboard, and this is what we made. This was my first look at the Chapper. This is the Bluetooth remote control that would end up changing my life. We would later bring other students into the mix, but it was from here that we started the year-long process of developing the device. So from there, we started doing all sorts of prototypes. As weeks turned into months, I learned how to code in C and C++ for the Arduino. And my mentor showed me both how to code and how to commit to a long-term project, as well as a huge variety of skills I didn't even know I was learning. So from there, we started a guerrilla marketing effort to try to get the word out. And so we would go from team to team at robotics competitions with our little 60-second spiel, and it was terrifying. I was afraid of speaking at restaurants, much less talking to strangers every 5 minutes. And to make matters worse, we created a YouTube commercial, which I edited, scripted, and acted in. Because at that point, I realized it didn't matter how embarrassed I was, it was more important to get the word out. And so that's how I learned public speaking, just out of necessity. And so something must have worked, because all of a sudden we had a lot of orders. So this is my little sweatshop within Westlake High School to create all of these. And so that's how I learned management, not from graduate school, but from necessity. And so somewhere in all of that, we ended up processing over 150 orders, which meant that I also became the customer support person. And so I would be sitting in class, and I'd get a call. I'd have to walk out, sorry guys, it's a customer, and walk through how to turn it off, and then how to turn it back on again. And so somewhere in all that chaos, we realized we had something really unique. And so we got all dressed up, and I was still 15 at the time, so my mentor drove us down to this patent lawyer's building. So we stood outside of this terrifying building in downtown in Austin, wondering what in the world we were doing. But about a year later, after working with good old Josh Tucker, we actually were able to receive a patent for our invention, which we assigned to the high school. And it's incredible. That's one more patent than my dad has. But you have to remember that all of this just started from this whiteboard drawing. This entire process, learning all these buzzword skills of marketing and management and programming, it just all started from here. And so I started wondering, is there any way I could get other students involved in this? Is there any way to take on other projects like this? Because I mean, we hit all the buzzwords, the project-based learning, all these things. And so that's how we turned the Chapper team into Chap Research. And so Chap Research would be an after-school program to teach these kind of skills and to take on these kind of projects. And so as a new founder of this company, I had to somehow make it happen. And I would have a lot of help, but it would be a huge learning experience. But remember, at this point I'm 16, and I had no idea what I was starting or what I was getting into. But as I sat there, I realized I had learned some of the skills, that in learning this, in being taught, I had learned how to teach. And so I at least had a starting point, so I thought. So I went to my robotics mentor and I asked him for some space, and this is what I got. And it took about 8 hours to clear it to make it somewhat livable. And so we just went full steam ahead and brought in new students. So these guys came in with huge ideas, but no idea how to start. And so it was my job to help them bring something from whiteboard to reality. And it's been a huge process since then. but somehow along the way, it worked. And 2 years later, we now have 12 students and a huge variety of products.
Wow.
So I would love to tell you how we got from that to where we are today, but in the interest of time and a poor microphone,
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah.
I think we're good. We're just gonna have to cut to the end. So these are the 13 projects we have, and I could not be more proud of Chap Research and where we've come. But we started all of this just because I wanted to give other students the same opportunities they had had. And so I want to see this in every classroom across the entire world, because there's no reason other students can't have this kind of opportunity. And so that's how we reached the end of my journey. I started this as a young girl looking at her shoes, but after this incredible process, I end all of this as a young woman looking at the sky.
Look at that.
Why I do this work.
Now, anybody looking to hire anybody? I think yeah, I think there's a big future ahead for Rachel, and it's just, again, pretty cool to be able to have her share her story.